In this Sunday's gospel, Jesus gives us basically a twofold piece of advice on dinner parties. The first part that he gives us advice on is, where do we sit? Everybody always wants to pick the seat where there's going to be honor, or sit next to the person that they're going to enjoy their company, or sit next to the esteemed guest or to the host where they're going to be honored by sitting there. It's natural. You want the best seat in the house. But the advice the Lord gives is pick the lowest seat. Pick the most undesirable seat. Sit there. And then the second piece of advice that he offers is don't just invite people who are wealthy or who are going to invite you back to their homes. Right? What good is that? But instead, go out, invite the cripple, the downcast, the homeless. Go out and invite the people that no one else is going to invite. Now, those seem like kind of backward pieces of advice. Why would I pick the lowest seat in a dinner party? Well, if I pick the lowest seat and I ought to be elevated to a higher seat, let the host do that. There's a humility in that. If I host a dinner party and I only invite wealthy people or only invite people that can invite me back, well, what benefit is that? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change the world. It doesn't call people on to better virtue. It's not self-giving. It's just kind of the status quo. But in the Christian life, when I'm humble, God exalts me to places that I don't expect to be exalted to. When I'm humble, God can use me more powerfully than any way that I could design him to use me. When I invite and I go out and I serve my neighbor, I accomplish something good by loving someone. Right? The definition of the love is to pour myself out, to will the good of the other for the sake of that other. And if I only invite people that will invite me later, then I'm not loving anyone. I'm just serving my own interests. But if I pour myself out by inviting people that will have no way of repaying me, I've emptied myself and I've poured myself out like a libation. In both of these pieces of advice, Jesus is teaching me how to love and how to be humble. Jesus is teaching me, he's teaching you, he's teaching us how to live life as the church. When the church acts like this, and I mean the church meaning all the members of the church together, not just the hierarchy, but when the church lives lives of humility and of service and of charity, the world responds. When the church lives full of itself, the world wants nothing to do with it. The way that we evangelize, the way that we call people to the gospel, it's not by exalting ourselves, but by calling people to join us in humility and in charity.